Is this thing on? There we go. So I'm the Reverend Sasha Ostrom. I'm the minister here at the Morristown Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. And it's wonderful to be with you all once more as we gather together to worship, lifting up that which is of worth in this great common life we all share together. And as we settle in for the hour, let's pause and center our minds and our spirits around this month's theme of resilience. And we begin with words by Arlen Goff. Thresholds. We cross them every day, from room to room, from outside to inside and back again, from here to there and anywhere to everywhere, from age to age. Each threshold offers an opportunity for change, for renewal, for transformation, from what we were and what we are to what we can be. In this hour and this place, we cross a threshold from our day-to-day everydayness into space and time attuned to the other, to the sacred, to the holy, into an awareness of new life pregnant with possibilities. How will we be renewed in this moment? How will we be changed in this hour? How will we be transformed through this gathering of beloved community? So come, my friends, and let's worship together.
Good morning. I'm Kendall Martin from your Committee on Ministries. It's time to light our chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist tradition. Would a volunteer like to come up to light our chalice? I don't see any competition. You're good.
Thank you.
Our chalice lighting words today are by Sean Gibson. We light our chalice in the spirit of transformation. Nothing says the same. Everything moving, shifting, changing. Guide us all to a wild and holy vision of our shared humanity. And now please stand as you're able for the affirmation by James Villa Blake. Please repeat after me each line, which helps our youngest members participate even if they don't read yet. Love is the spirit of this fellowship.
Love is the spirit of this fellowship.
Service is its law.
And service is its law.
This is our great covenant.
This is our great covenant.
To dwell together in peace.
To dwell together in peace.
To seek the truth in love.
To seek the truth in love.
And to help one another.
And to help one another.
Please join me now for our opening hymn. Our opening hymn today is number 359, When We Are Gathered.
Amen.
morning again, and welcome. Welcome especially to any newcomers, returning members of our community, and anyone who joined us online today. If you're tuning in live on YouTube, please say hi in the chat if you haven't already. We're delighted to have you with us. Today is a somewhat unusual Sunday morning for us. Today we're exploring the second of our congregation's open questions, an opportunity for collective discernment. Our second open question this year is about change. Today, we are all encouraged to consider 2 or 3 important changes affecting our fellowship, our community, and our members. Then later in the service, we'll explore these changes more deeply, including how can we work towards opportunities that changes present us while managing the challenges. We will explore this question this morning in a variety of ways, including contemplative readings, silent reflection, and a time of sharing after the service. More details about that later. Now, we're a community of many ages, and we all worship together. You can join us in many ways on Sundays, including online, here in the sanctuary, or from the many rooms in our building where we live stream the service. This week, I'd like to draw your attention to the Chu Family Hall, which is out the doors and to the left in our new Gateways building. The service is streaming on the big screen, and coffee is served. Kids of all ages are always welcome in all of our services, but we offer childcare as an additional option for families with small children ages 9 months to 5 years. Parents, if you find yourself in need of childcare at any point during the worship today, please bring your little one to room A in our Gateway Center. Again, welcome here, everyone, with us today. We're glad to have you here.
So I'm going to be talking a little bit next week and the week after about some of the lessons that I learned from the people in Minneapolis during my time there. But there is one lesson that I learned from the folks there that I wanted to share with you today. So we had a vigil at one of the Unitarian Universalist congregations. I think it was the St. Paul congregation, the evening after Alex Preddy's death. And so the community really just needed to be able to gather in together and spend some time together. And there was a wonderful gentleman, I don't know his name, but he came up and he offered a teaching to all of us that is sometimes referred to as somatic practice. So somatic refers to our bodies. So this was an opportunity for everybody who was gathered there, who was grieving, who were afraid, who probably had a lot of anxiety and were really mourning, holding all of that in our bodies to help us to find a little bit of equilibrium in a really difficult time. And this is a practice that can also help us in times of change, because of course times of change can sometimes be good things, but times of change can also create some anxiety in us, can sometimes involve a sense of loss, sometimes just a feeling of uncertainty. And so I want to teach us this practice now so it'll be something that we can add to our toolbox of things that can help us through times of change. And so the first thing I want you to do is go ahead and close your eyes. Close your eyes and let yourself really feel your body right now. Feel the weight of your feet on the floor, your body in your seat. Feel the way your arms are maybe hanging. And I want you to kind of scan through your body and notice if there is a place in your body that maybe feels a little bit tense. And to kind of help us do this, we're even not going to look for tension that you are feeling right now. We are going to think about the times in your life where you maybe feel a little anxious, a little bit sad, feeling like you're dealing with some uncertainty, and maybe where that tends to show up in your body for you. For some of us, that can show up in our throats as a feeling of tension in our throats. Sometimes it shows up in our chest as a feeling of maybe some tightness there. For For a lot of people, it can show up in the belly. Sometimes there's a feeling of a stone there, or maybe some uncomfortable butterflies there. But people hold tension in different places. Maybe it's in your shoulders. So think a little bit about where you tend to feel that in your own life when you are, struggling with change or with other things that are a little bit difficult. Maybe even if you want to, you can just reach a hand up right now and just gently touch that place that maybe you tend to feel that sense of discomfort or anxiety or tension during times of change, just to be aware of where that tends to pop up for you. And now I want you to think about a time in your life where you tend to feel really confident, where you tend to feel at home, comfortable, safe, and maybe where that tends to show up in your body. For some people, it might show up a little bit lower, kind of in their hip area where they feel kind of grounded. It might show up in your back. It might show up in certain places in your legs. Maybe your chest feels expanded. But think about where that feeling of safety, that feeling of being at home, that feeling of confidence shows up in your body. And what we're going to do real quick right now is just shift back and forth between those two places in our body. So shifting back and forth from the place where we typically feel a sense of tension or anxiety, and then moving to allow yourself to feel the place in your body where you typically feel some safety or a sense of being at home, a sense of being safe and calm and maybe even held. And let yourself just kind of move back and forth. And part of the purpose of letting yourself move back and forth between those two feelings right now is just a reminder to us that we are able to do that anytime that we need to. And sometimes it can be a little bit harder, maybe when we are, truly feeling anxiety in the moment, but being able to remember, this is something I can move back and forth between, and knowing where that place of safety and that place of feeling at home in your body is, can allow you in a moment where you are needing that to be able to return there. So I encourage you to take 3 deep breaths, and as you do that, let yourself shift back and forth between those two places. And on your 3rd breath, go ahead and let yourself return to that place where you do feel at home and confident and held. This morning, we are going to allow this to also stand for our time of milestones and passages when we normally hold the cares and concerns of this congregation that you bring forward. Nobody submitted any milestones or passages today, but we're going to pause real quick before we sing our hymn, just to acknowledge that, everybody here, whether we share those things on Sunday mornings or not, we are often holding all kinds of cares and all kinds of joys for our own lives as well as for the world that we all move through together. And so let's go ahead now. We're going to remain seated as we sing number 86, Blessed Spirit of My Life.
Help me live with thee.
We come now to the time in our service each Sunday when we pause to offer gifts of financial support to this congregation. Your donations make all that we do here possible and also help to make our wider community a better place. That's because each Sunday we give at least half of the money we collect to an organization that is doing good work to advance our Unitarian Universalist values in a world that needs them now more than ever. Today's offering will be split 50-50 with Wind of Spirit, a resource center for immigrants working to achieve just and humane immigration reform. You may give in our collection plate or by following the instructions printed in your order of service and shown on the screen. Thank you in advance for your generosity.
All right, let's begin our reflection time today with a story about change. And this piece is called Home Again by Teresa Honey Youngblood. And Teresa begins with a quote by Thomas Wolfe from You Can't Go Home Again, who said, "Some things will never change. Some things will always be the same. Lean down upon your ear upon the earth and listen." And Teresa then shares this story about a time of change and the feeling of loss that sometimes accompanies change. They don't call it lightning here, heat lightning here. They don't call them hurricane lilies either. And the early summer frog songs feature some familiar voices, but the one that sounds like a grumpy little dog barking is missing. The Ozarks are just as stunning as everyone said they were, but they're not the wild swamplands of Florida that we left behind. Stubbornly, I point out these discrepancies to my children, willing them to remember the vocabulary of our shared homeland. But when we left, they were of such an age that they hadn't yet built up such loyalties. And after a while, they look at me with benign tolerance when I describe to them the smell of orange blossoms that floated through the open window when I sang them to sleep, or the way they'd gorge on juicy you-pick persimmons until their small stomachs bulged so much I had to adjust their car seat buckles on the ride home. They don't share my memories. They hear them like words from a story that trails off nebulously. Then what happened? Then we moved. People move for jobs, relations, opportunities, escape. We also move from partnered to single, or we move from an empty nest to raising grandchildren, or from able-bodied to disabled. The shorthand of our life before becomes cumbersome, unable to connect to the people around us, hindering our ability to put down new roots. And yet, at the same time, we carry a constancy, the still small voice within that knows the difference between the window dressing and the big, wide, beautiful world beyond the window. We feed this wise little one with prayer, breath, song, service, bare feet walking circles on the ground, slow-cooked soup, gentle gazes held when words fail. And Teresa ends with a prayer. Spirit, help us to remember that we are already at home, anywhere we may be on the interconnected web of all existence, that we are never untethered from the oneness that abides all space and time. All right, our second open question this year is all about change, and in a moment we will take some time to really dig down and explore this idea of change. But first, let me go ahead and explain how this is going to work. So on your way in today, you should have received 3 index cards and something to write with. There's also some things to write with on the chairs in front of you. Raise your hand if you do not have those materials, and some of our members of the Committee on Ministry will bring those around to you. So just keep holding those hands up until those come your way. Now, for each question we explore today, you're going to want to number that card 1, 2, or 3, depending on which of the questions that we are on at that time. And up here on our screen, you will see the reflection questions, and we will have 3 minutes to reflect on each of these questions and quietly jot our answers down on the first card. And so our first question today is, as we shared a little while ago, our first open question this year invites us to consider 2 or 3 important changes affecting our fellowship, our community, or the lives of our members, and asks, how can we work toward opportunities that changes present us with while also managing the challenges? But that, of course, is a really big question, so we're going to actually break it down into 3 smaller prompts for reflection. And the first of these prompts is this. So as we grow, we will be changing. As we think about the changes that growth might bring us, what are some of the things about the past that we value, and how do we honor that history? And at the same time, how do we embrace the future? And so again, there's a simpler version here. And so we're going to go ahead and take 3 minutes to reflect silently and jot our thoughts down on that first card. Just go ahead and write number 1 on the card. Let's do yellow. Sure. Yeah, go ahead and use yellow. And then if you need help remembering the question, if it's a little difficult to see all the way up here on the screen, you also have that cheat sheet in front of you, which you can also write your thoughts on some of the future questions if you are so moved. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take 3 minutes. And parents, it is okay to speak quietly to your children to help them participate. This is your heads up that you have 1 more minute. Once upon a time, Margaret Williams Braxton writes, I was. Now I am. Someday I will become. Once there was, and now there is. Soon there will be, and someday surely there shall be. Once upon a time we were, now we are, and someday, hallelujah, we shall surely become. Amen.
Our next reading to help us reflect on change and how to weather it is this poem entitled Nothing is Static by Manish Mishra Marzetti. It's from Bless the Imperfect, Meditations for Congregational Leaders, edited by Kathleen Montgomery. Manish writes, the ground shifts, sometimes slowly, sometimes like an earthquake, reminding us that the solidity we often love and seek is always an illusion. The crumbling dust of the desert plains, the moist fertility of the farmlands, the eroding coastline of tidal shores all are changing. Committees dissolve or are created, leaders retire or step away, ministers come and go, bylaws are amended. New experiences lead to new truths which foster evolution. The natural course of life always pushing us towards greater understandings of what it means to be human. Everything about our existence points towards change, flexibility, and dynamic recreation. And it's hard because change involves loss. Can we hold the losses well while not holding ourselves back? The ground shifts, sometimes slowly, sometimes like an earthquake. Nothing is static. It's time now for a second reflection question. Sometimes challenge can be challenging. Even if a change is necessary, and even if we might eagerly await it, that doesn't mean it isn't difficult. Change, no matter how good, is often also uncomfortable. It may force us to deal with the unfamiliar. It may carry risk. There is uncertainty, and often it requires loss, even sacrifice. Yet, it is important that we be able to weather changes together. If we are to grow as a community, grow our numbers, yes, but also expand our programs, develop our leaders, cultivate our spirits, and widen our collective vision. So how do we cope with challenging changes, and move forward as a community? Let's take 3 minutes to reflect silently and jot down our thoughts on our second card. That will be the blue card. Is this a prop?
And this is your 1-minute warning.
Rebecca A. Emiston-Lange writes, mindful of our highest aspirations, bound by common faith and purpose, and yet beginning with ourselves as we are, let us take one more step together. In our unending quest for dignity, justice, and love. Amen.
All right, our next words for reflection are by Tara Humphreys, and for this one I'm going to need a volunteer to come on up here and take a look at this and tell us what this is.
It's a bag.
It is very clearly a bag, but it's a special kind of bag that can only be revealed by looking inside the bag. Anybody want to dig around in this? We have a volunteer.
A fixing bag.
Fixing bag, that's a good name for it. It is a fixing bag, so it has all kinds of tools inside for fixing different things. We have some, I'm actually really bad at fixing things, so this is a thing full of doohickeys. We've got some nails that are no longer in the back because they are in the walls. We've got a hammer. Some fun stuff in there. There we go. All right, so you can play with that stuff for a moment. Don't break anything. All right, so what are toolboxes used for? We just heard a great hint of what they're used for. To carry tools, to fix stuff, he said earlier too, to repair things, to build things. But what is the simplest thing of what we use a toolbox for? To hold all the tools in one place, that's right. And so it also lets us find the tools that we need when we need them most. So sometimes when I'm finding myself facing a challenge and I'm not exactly sure what tool I need, I go to my box and I have all of the options in one place, and then I can start trying to see what maybe works. And because I'm not particularly good at toolboxes, I often will go through and try a variety of things until somebody more sensible might have a better idea right off the bat of what to use. Now, when we're dealing with change, we sometimes need some special tools too. We might call those special tools coping skills. And we can think of our coping skills as spiritual and emotional tools. When we're facing changes, that can be really hard sometimes. We might have a broken heart about things that we might lose because of the change, or we might feel nervous about what the change might mean for us. And whatever change makes us feel, we can think about the tools that we have at our disposal to help us take care of ourselves and one another during that hard time. And for example, spiritual practices like the one that I taught you earlier in our Time for All Ages are a tool that can help us during times of change. And so I'm wondering if anyone here can list off another example of a spiritual or emotional tool or just any kind of tool that a person can use to help us during a time of change? Go ahead and just shout it out if you can think of one.
A friend.
A friend, maybe talking to a friend or just being with a friend can help a lot. Yeah. An affinity group, so coming together with other people who share similar interests or similar concerns and sharing with one another, that can be a great way. Writing, so journaling sometimes, or even creative writing can help us when we're dealing with change. Yeah.
Being flexible.
Meditation, being flexible. Yeah. Putting yourself in others' places.
Walking in nature.
Walking in nature, that's a really great one. Yeah. Art. Music. Exercise. That's one that helps me a lot. Yeah. Eating, yes. Many of us do, in fact, use eating as a coping skill, and it can be a good one. So, yeah. Yoga. Having mindful compassion for ourselves and others. Yeah, so these are a lot of really great examples. So we have lots of options then when we are facing change. We don't have to just go into that and hope for the best. There are tools we can use to help us get through times of change. And one of the reasons I think it's important for us to have all of these tools living in your hard times toolbox is because sometimes the one that you maybe try out in the moment doesn't really work for you. And so it might be too easy at times like that to say, oh no, nothing at all is going to help me ever again. What do I do? But it's helpful to remember that there isn't just one tool in that toolbox. There are all kinds of tools. And if one tool doesn't work quite right, we can return it to the box and we can try something else. And sometimes when things are feeling really, really hard, it is possible that none of the tools or practices in the box feel like enough. And if that is something that happens, if it feels like you're maybe trying to cut down a huge tree with a teeny tiny little handsaw when you really need a chainsaw, sometimes what we need in times like that is maybe to reach out to someone like a professional. Maybe you need to talk to a therapist. Maybe you can talk to me. Maybe you can talk to a doctor or a teacher or your parent, but somebody who can provide some support to you. Someone who can remind us of the tools that we have, maybe help us to find some new ones and lend us theirs to try out. And the point of a toolbox is not that you have every single tool or practice that you will ever need, but that you have a starting point for trying. And the more we practice using our tools and the more we ask for help from other people, the better we get at taking care of ourselves and each other when times are really hard. And we might not have all that we need alone, but together as a community, we can do some really amazing work to move through change. All right, so it's time now for our third reflection question, which is related to this idea of having a toolbox to help us weather change. How do we build capacity to manage the challenges and embrace the opportunities of change? Let's go ahead and take 3 minutes to reflect silently on this question and jot down our thoughts. And I believe we are now using the pink card. Am I correct? Yes, thank you. Heads up that you have 1 more minute. Changes abound, Michelle Collins reminds us, all around us, within us, between us, in our communities, our neighborhoods, and our beloved faith communities. Changes abound. May we each find the balance point we need to move through our ever-changing world, the balance between the old and the new, between the known and the unknown, between the familiar and the perhaps bold and risky possibilities that may be there waiting.
This brings our exploration of the second open question in this service to a close, but we're not done exploring it together. Please be sure to come to one of our 2 upcoming open question sessions looking at this open question about change. The session we recommend most will be right after service at 11:30 in the Chu Family Hall. There are tables all down one side of the building, just for that purpose, easels to collect your feedback. Get your coffee, take a seat. We'll also have a session on Zoom, Tuesday at 8 p.m. Write to board@muuf.org if you want to get that link. The wisdom you share in our open questions process will help our leadership form, flipped the wrong page, next year's vision of ministry. So it's important that everyone participate, longtime members, newcomers, and everyone in between. For this one, we especially hope our religious education teachers and parents of kids currently in the program can attend. Also, unlike in previous services, we won't be collecting the cards right here after service. You're going to use those, take them to the session in Chu Hall, or use them online. If you really can't attend either of those, then you can give us your cards. There's a basket outside just for those who can't attend any other venue for giving us your feedback. So these cards are for you to further build upon and use to discuss the open question. Part of this process is about collective discernment and requires us to be in conversation with one another and hear each other's thoughts. Many of you have shared that that's one of your favorite parts of the open questions. So we're trying to honor that with this change. So please be sure to come to one of the sessions to share your thoughts with the Committee on Ministries, and just as importantly, with one another. And now, to honor the spirit of collaboration and sharing of our open questions process, which helps shape our work together, let's rise now as we're able, sing our closing hymn. It's number 402 in your gray hymnal, From You I Receive. Let's sing it 3 times through. time now for us to bring our time of worship to a close. Though we extinguish our chalice flame, its light will continue to burn. It is.
We are on the minutes for ministries.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering where that went. So I have rearranged my notes for myself to get confused up here. Okay. This is a time when we share brief updates about our congregation's activities to help us stay engaged with our community beyond our Sunday service. This morning, I'd like to draw your attention to the following announcements. Any newcomers with us are invited to fill out a welcome card to help. Love to meet you and answer any questions. Look for the sunny gold sash. If you have questions about religious education, please talk to our religious education ambassador, who is wearing a green sash. Okay. Anyone needing a caring presence this morning will find a compassionate listening ear with one of our lay pastoral care associates. You'll recognize them by the blue sash. And do we have a blue sash on anybody here? If today's sash wearers are here in the room with us today, please stand. We've done that well enough. You guys are so good. We have several great activities for you every week. This week, join us tomorrow for Green Earth Ministries, Tuesday for our Zoom session that we just talked about at 8 p.m. for the open questions, Wednesday, mindfulness meditation, Thursday for children's choir, adult choir, our women's spirituality group, Saturday for gathering of men, and next Sunday for our pancake breakfast. Today, after service, you're invited to join us for mindful meditation, newcomer welcome, and, of course, our in-person open question session. Kids in middle school and high school are encouraged to join us for open questions. And younger children, please join us for a special religious education class, The Sun is My Superpower. Full details about these and many other activities can be found on the back of your order of service, our weekly newsletter, or on our website at muuf.org. And now we have a special announcement. Shari?
Guest, be our guest, put our service to the test. Tie your napkin round your neck, Cherie, and we provide the rest. Soup du jour, hot hors d'oeuvres.
Hello. Wasn't that fun to get together at our 70th anniversary party? Well, we're all about dispelling the winter blahs. So we've got another party coming up, Gateways, Glitter, and Song. Now, Diane Coslow took the prize for the best tea party outfit, but she told me she's got a glittery dress, too. So our last announcement featured the music that's going to be featured, and you heard a little bit of it, but today we are all about the food. So there is going to be, at 6:30 in the terrace room, we'll start with charcuterie, and with wine and soda and other drinks. And then at 7 o'clock, Shoe Hall will open, and there will be more food, including these Mauritius or Mauritanian, I guess, samosas, so not the usual ones you're used to. And of course, Chef Diana's fabulous sushi, dumplings, and other Asian-inspired delights. And throughout the evening, there will be art on display, because we're going to have an art auction of some of our fabulous fellowship artists. And then, at intermission, there will be artisanal chocolates, Chef Diana's special cannolis, and tea and coffee. Grab dessert, stretch your legs, and then come back inside for an art auction and the musical finale. So please get your tickets now so we know how much food we need to order from our caterers. That's really important. We need to know, so sooner rather than later, guys. And this is a fundraiser, but as a member, you can pay any amount that you want that is comfortable. And you can contribute volunteer hours that evening or elsewhere in the fellowship. Or you can go wild and pay a premium for a VIP ticket that includes a special 15-minute preview with the a cappella barbershop quartet. Or you can, and that's at 6:45 in Shoe Hall. Or you can sponsor an element of the evening. The chocolates are taken, so is the general kitchen help, so is Chef Diana already, and just this morning we've got a sponsor for First Take, our musical interlude. But we need a few more, so please consider that as well. And as we said, this is a time for glitter.
But also, you can not only pay what is comfortable, you can wear what is comfortable for you, too.
I was going to wear shorts, but yeah.
So just come and enjoy the time with us.
Now, we have started one more quiet phase of the campaign. We're ticking down from the $190,000 we need to raise to completely avoid a mortgage. Candace, why is it important to avoid a mortgage?
Good morning. Well, obviously, when the board approved approaching you, the congregation, to authorize a $4.5 million campaign, which could include a possible mortgage of up to $400,000. They'd done a lot of calculations and a lot of thinking to show that we could, in fact, support such a mortgage. Now, we are down to $190,000 being needed to avoid a mortgage, and the board's considering ways to manage that amount for a mortgage. But believe me, there are other far more exciting things that I'd like to be discussing to do with that money each year. We'd rather be discussing which part-time staff position to fund, such as a communications director, an assistant minister to help with outreach and campus ministries, or a rentals and events coordinator to help in Chew Hall. But before any of those conversations can be had, we must be fiscally responsible. So we must ensure that we can continue to pay all of our current expenses and a new mortgage, if that's what has to happen. As of right now, we would be looking at a 15-year mortgage that would cost us approximately $19,000 per year. Imagine what we could do if we didn't have to spend that $19,000 on a mortgage. So please come to the event and consider an additional amount to close out this capital campaign and avoid a mortgage.
We're running a little late today, so we do not have time to open our mic for announcements from the floor. But again, please be sure to read our newsletter and the back of your order of service to learn about the many wonderful things going on in our community. So keep your cards, and we will do that later.
All right, it's time now for us to bring our time of worship to a close, but although we extinguish our chalice flame, its light will continue to burn in our hearts. And as we go out into our daily lives, thinking of the changes this community has weathered over the years and will weather, challenging and wonderful, I leave you with the words of Priscilla Murdoch. As we bring to a close our tribute to the journey we have made through the years, let us be mindful of the enduring bond that keeps us together. Let us remember those who went before and paved the road for us to travel. Let us remember our pioneers with admiration and gratitude, with honor and with joy. Memories are for us to cherish and to share. The future is for us to mold together. Let us be about that work. Amen. Blessed be, and go in peace.